Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And once again, I brought on another fantastic group of independent comics creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, and let me, without further ado, just bring this dude back on. Where is he? There he is.
Oh, bro, I gotta turn on our camera.
There you go.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at this. Look at this.
Nice hat. Nice hat.
Yes, you like that. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Calderon. First time caller, long time listener. I really feel those Yankees last night. Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
Wrong show, baby.
Wrong
What's
show.
up, kid? No, we're here to talk about comic books. You got a bunch of talented independent creators tonight. Why don't you bring them on and so they can talk about some other stuff, dude?
All right. Well, we got a special Coco host.
Oh, we got a special Coco. Who? Oh, that guy.
On. That's right. This guy. What's going on? I appreciate you, JD Squared, having me help you guys out tonight. A day of positivity. Positivity will reign today, no matter what circumstances are going on in any other way.
Yep. There
All
you
about
go.
positivity.
There you go. When I spoke to Matt earlier, he asked me, what's the show about? And I said, we're going to try to be positive today. I don't know. I might have lied.
What do you mean might have?
I know, right? Anyway, let's be good. Let's be good. There we go.
All right.
There you go. Ronald, how you doing? Please.
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm doing good. Had a long weekend at work though, so
Oh yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Gotcha.
But I'm excited to be here though. Talk about my comic.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
But please introduce yourself.
My name is Ronald Christian. I'm the creator of Tales to Inspire, which is a inspirational superhero anthology comic. But yeah, we launched last month. So yeah, the campaign ends on the 18th. We already hit our goal, but we want to go that extra mile. So that's why I do these.
Yeah,
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Amin, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Amin. I'm the artist, author, illustrator, everything for the Road to Oz comic book series, which is currently running in a Kickstarter that ends on July 4th. Also an artist for Moonstone, IDW, Zenoscope, and a few other ones. So yeah, really happy to be here.
and a fan of one of the best teams in all of sports. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Miami Dolphins? I didn't know that, dude. Awesome.
Whoa. Don't
Great
curse me out.
stuff, man.
Don't curse me
All
out
right.
like that, man.
Boom.
There you go.
Oh, hey,
How you doing, Steph?
good. I am Steph Cannon. I'm the other half of In Signature Creations that actually still has a Facebook profile right now. Not a Yankees fan. West Coast, go Giants. So, But hey, we're here to talk about our campaign and anything else you guys might ask. So we're good to go.
Okay. I don't know much about baseball or Giants.
I don't either. I'm a football person. I just had to throw that out there
Okay.
Giants.
Wasn't that the team we kicked out?
25% of the California teams,
Okay.
It really well.
and they came from
'Cause-
New York.
We don't have the A's anymore. They go into Vegas like all the other.
Is it legit? Is it locked
Hopefully.
in? It's locked
yeah.
in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to create some big, huge, beautiful stadium for the A's, for the Raiders, and it's okay. They've got the
Sometimes
Giants.
things like that fall apart because we had the
Got
previous owner.
it's either Giants or Dodgers in California.
Again,
And I'm in the middle of the
another New York
state,
born
so
team.
you get both,
Mhm.
and they do not like each other. So it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
we understand. It's not like Yankees Mets out here, or
Yeah.
Jets Dolphins, right, Matt?
All right.
Oh.
We have a lady,
All right.
ladies guest Tyson. How you doing, mate? Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, cool. So please introduce yourself, Tyson.
My name's Tyson J. The founder of Rising Star Comics and a friend of Ron here, and who helped contribute to his Tales to Inspire anthology with my character Rebound.
All right, cool. Sounds good. All right, everybody. I'm pretty sure you all saw the show title and the show question, and even if you haven't, I'm going to read it out and ask everybody the damn question. So, the joy in indie comics. Where do you find it for yourself and others? Right. So that's the question, right? So, Tyson, you're in the hot seat, brother.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Join-
If you come in last, you get asked first.
Okay, yeah. Well, for me, it's just the creative freedom and the ability to actually tell good stories. You just won't get in the mainstream right now. So that's already a one thing right there.
Mhm.
But also, just I love being able to write and create interesting stories and characters.
All right. Fair enough. Ronald, what are your thoughts?
Me, the joy is taking control of storytelling. Like, you see what DC, Marvel, whatnot are not doing, what you want to see, and taking control and doing it yourself. That's where I get the most out of, like, taking back control of storytelling and, telling the stories that I want to see and I want to tell.
All right. Fair enough. Amin, what are you thinking?
That's a really good question, but yeah, I think for me it's been. I mean, yeah, there's the artwork part, there's the storytelling part. I kind of feel that it's been at this point for me the reaction when you finally have that finished book, finished product, and someone has read it, and they come back to you like, when's the second one out? Kind of creating that fervor. That's been a newly recent high. But it's a highly motivational one. So that's kind of been like I think the big one for me.
All right. Cool. Steph, what are your thoughts?
So, what exactly is the question again?
So the joy in indie comics, where do you find it for yourself and others?
I would say for myself personally, it's getting to tell the stories that I've always wanted to tell all my life. Even as a little kid, I've wanted to be a writer my whole entire life. For others, it's seeing, and I think Matt would agree, it's hearing their thoughts and their perspectives on the stories that we tell. Because a lot of the times, the beats that we want to have emotional reactions hit, and that's great. But what's also great is when people are like, oh, this is how I think it's going to be, or this is what I think about this character, which is totally different than what we had planned on or wanted to have people perceive. And it's so fun. It's so fun to see other people's perspectives on our characters and our stories and all the beats.
All right, cool. Matt, what are you thinking?
So for me personally, I think as a creator, and everyone in this room can think about it the same way, to me, it's such a wild concept to be like, there was this thing that did not exist at all. And then something happened in your brain and you decided that you're going to concoct this thing, whatever it was, and it's going to go from your brain out your hands and you're going to type this thing up and it's going to become a story. And then other people are going to enjoy that stuff. And you're like, that thing literally would not have existed without your brain concocting it. To me is just one of the craziest things. And like everybody said, where when you see somebody else's reaction to it, to me is great. I love it when somebody's inspired by it or they start kind of fan fictioning out things. Oh man, so is this character going to do this? Is that character going to do this? I wonder if this is what's going to happen. I wonder if that's what's going to happen. And you're like,
so fun.
Maybe not. We'll just have to find out. And then like, you'll have some people like, I won't name names because if they watch the show, which you never know if they do, we have some people that check out stuff in our stories and they're like, oh, I see the bio for this character. And I wonder what the juxtaposition of this character versus this character, is there going to be a meeting down the line? And how are they going to react? And maybe this is going to happen. And we're like, did they see the script? We're like, what the heck? They live like, how? I'm like, it's just so cool when you have people that are locked in. That's just so fulfilling. It means you're connecting with people out there with your stuff. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Jay, what are your thoughts?
I'm agreeing with all of this. I love it, right? But that fan reaction, right? 'Cause we're all used to getting the fresh pages in, right? Or maybe finishing up the third draft on a script, right? Like, oh, you think you got those puzzle pieces together. Those are awesome moments. But for me, what I jump on, what I vibe off of, is that interaction I get at cons from people coming back to me with the books and stuff, right? I want to give you one example. Last year I was in DC for Awesome Con, and young man about 18, 19 years old, came by the table with his dad. I understood immediately that the young man was on the spectrum, right? And having a nephew who is nonverbal, I know, hey, you just let them do the thing, let them relax, right? Just let them speak. They want to be heard just like everybody else. So here I am, and this young man he wants to know how to get into comic books, right? So I throw the spiel on it, right? But I soften it. I don't give him what I give normal people who come up to me at cons, the roughness of it all. And he comes back with a couple books the next day, and his dad is like, he read all of them, right? And then he tells me the next day that, my son, he was nonverbal until he was 9 years old. And here I am, and I take that information and I bring it back to the rest of the family, right? I let them know that there's hope for our little guy. We wouldn't have gotten that type of information had I not been making comic books, right? Or at least I would not have been the point man on relaying this information to the family had I not been making comic books. And that's the joy, right? It's those moments that don't just affect me, but every ring and every outer ring of my life because of the comic books I make. I find that's it, right? That has filled my emotional well for the last year and a half, and I'm still talking about it because it's such an awesome moment.
Okay, Jay, you win.
Yeah.
There you go. I didn't know we were in a competition, but okay.
Always, baby, always.
All right. I mean, it's funny for myself. It's funny. I write these questions and I write them and I try not to ever think of the answer. Right. So I'm always kind of sitting here, kind of puzzled over my own question. Right. Where do I find the joy in indie comics? And it's always been pretty much the same for me. It's, I think, like many creators, right? When we work on our work, we escape this reality, right? We all know we walk out the door. Most of us have a day job and we have to deal with whatever that is, right? And those people, right, that we would probably, not deal with if we really had a choice to, right? But we deal with it because we got to pay bills. But, when you come home and you get to sit down, you get to really relax, right? And you get to explore this different place where nobody else has been because it's all in your head, right? Like everybody's saying, it's all in your head. So you get to explore those things. And that's the joy I get out of it, is exploring these strange different vistas in my mind, It's a good thing I don't take drugs because I'd be just gone. But as far as like the fans, I mean, similar to Jay, like I don't do a lot of shows and I haven't done one in a long time. But when I was doing a lot of them,
hang on, guys.
No, that's fine. But one of the things that happened was, actually, it's funny. This didn't happen at a show. I got a letter from a military vet who was stationed in Japan, and I have a coin somewhere in my library, and it's a big bronze coin. He sent me this coin. He says this was given only to people who served on his base in Japan. And he had sent it to me because he said, if not for Tall Tales, right, one of the books that I write and then my wife draws, Daphne, he would not have been able to make it through his time at that station. I guess for whatever reason. He never explained to me as to like how hard it was or whatever. But, he said, if not for that, and then he gave me that coin as a gift. And, it's a coin I still have. Unfortunately, the letter got lost in many different moves and floods and but I still have the coin and I still remember the story. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that just like Jay, it's one of these things where it's like you get these these good feelings from the fans when they come back to you with that sort of thing.
Yeah, these are all great stories, and I hope that my journey, I have these kind of experiences because this is great stuff.
No, you will.
They come with time, bro. They come with time, man. You know what I mean? And when it happens, just grab it, hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Let it feed you, dude. Let it feed you.
And I'll say too, I know this is going to sound, this is not in any way a pitch for the second half of the show. This is actually true. When you do crowdfunding stuff, Steph and I will tell you the same thing. it doesn't matter if somebody goes in a backshare campaign for $1 or backshare campaign for $5, or you have a super backer that comes in and drops 100 or $200. Yeah, you love all of it, but at the essence, every time something like that happens for us, we rejoice because we're like, dude, that person just felt like their hard-earned money, their time was valuable enough to invest into what we do, and there's a joy that you take in that and a responsibility too. But when you see that number tick up, no matter how big or small your campaign or how big or small the contribution is, that's always something that it just brings a lot of joy, because you're like, yes, people are seeing the thing that we're doing. People are appreciating it. People are wanting to be a part of it. And that's something that is really, really addictive about doing a Kickstarter campaign to me.
Oh, yeah. And that's the coin right there.
Oh, nice.
The big bronze, it's a bronze coin. It has like the, it says the Joint Chiefs of Staff or something. So yeah, and I've had this thing for at least 25 years, if not longer. I mean, it was a long time ago I got this sucker. All right, so very good, Jay. We blew right through that one. It's your turn.
That was a quickie, man. I wasn't ready for it to go that fast, bro. Everybody here is out for business.
Yeah, we could listen. Like last week, I think we sat on one question for 45 minutes. Yeah, pretty much the whole show. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Brad, what's up, bud? All right. So my question for tonight is: at what point did the switch flip from you going from fan to creator, and what book or moment was it that flipped the switch for you?
Very nice, very nice. All right, cool. Ronald, you're in the hot seat.
Oh, jeez. You even gave me time to think about it. Okay. I know it's like it's a lot of things. Like, it's not just one thing, right? It's, Star Wars. What Disney did to Star Wars is one of the, reasons, I guess, Nazi Captain America.
Oh, Jesus.
Hail Hydra Captain America is one thing that, those are the, I guess, off the top of my head, those are the two biggest ones right now I can think of.
All right, that's fair. Amin, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's fun. That's hard. That's a hard one. Like, I know which one got me hooked, and that was Avengers 243. But what made me do the switch? I'm gonna say probably David Lapham when he was doing like hardcore for Valiant.
Oh, wow.
That era with Jim Lee as well, kind of like
Right.
an Image and all that stuff is kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, okay, and then kind of really getting into it and exploring it. It was all the Bart Sears stuff too that really kind of caught my attention. Of like, okay, way out there in terms of just like anatomy, but it's like, okay, it's a possibility. Just kind of have to work at it. I think that was kind of like a mishmash all throughout of what kind of got me to move to be more of a creator. I'm still a fan, but you're creating more than you are consuming.
All right. Cool. Speak for yourself, sir. I am a degenerate consumer of comic books. Steph, what are your thoughts?
I had an answer prepared, but then everybody else's answers were completely different. I guess I understood the question differently.
Okay.
I was gonna say I don't know. I'm thrown off by everybody else's answers here.
Don't worry about everybody else's ansers. Your answer was your answer.
My original answer
Right.
was going to be what I thought the question was when did you feel like a creator and not a reader?
Okay.
Maybe I'm completely off on that. But I was going to say, and now like my mind is completely blanked because I feel like I understood the question completely differently. So I will.
I think I'd like to hear that answer because I think that's going to be a good answer.
I don't even know. I feel like I heard the answer in another language or something because I was like, oh, I know exactly how I'm going to answer this, and everybody else's answers, I was like, wait, we're talking about comics that we've read. So, not to make things awkward because I already feel like it is because I'm completely thrown off here. You know what? Let's go, Matt. why don't we have Matt?
Because I know exactly what my answer is going to be, and it is completely on the other side of things from what you guys said. So maybe this will help Steph to get. So for me, what made me decide to go from being a fan to being an actual creator?
This is what I thought the question was.
Yeah,
but...
well, so that's where my answer is going to go, because I know where my point was, is that, for those that know me, my history is in metal music. I was in bands that toiled in the underground for many years, did very low-level stuff, didn't really pop into social consciousness, anything like that. And I got completely tired of the industry and just stepped away from writing and creating for almost a decade. And I always had the itch and started, I might want to write, might want to do a little bit more, just kind of kept some notes. But I was refereeing a soccer tournament, and it was a national tournament, and they would bring you in and they would put you into a room with another random official. Like, you may know him, you may not, but here's your room assignment. And they put me into a room with a guy that actually was from my local area, but the dude is a musical savant. The dude on piano was imagine the most hyped up, J.D. Calderon, drugged up, blah, 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 just going completely insane on the piano guy. And we were done with our games, and we're sitting in the room, and we're sharing some different thoughts. He's sharing some videos of his, and I'm just so completely blown away by this guy's talent. And I played him one of the roughs of one of the songs I was working on, and kind of read him the lyrics. And we got to a certain spot, and he was like, dude, hold on. Why is this sitting on your laptop? Why is this not out there? Dude, you better get that out there. Those lyrics, you better get them out there. And that flipped the switch of me. If there's this musician that's so impressed by something that was there, I'm that's the thing. I got to stop just sitting on this. I got to get over my being frustrated with the scene. And those songs, I wanted to have a little more inspiration to them. So the songs had some backstory, and then a couple of songs turned into an album, turned into Heirs of Isildur, The Crossroads Conundrum, the entire arc. And the song he was listening to is the song Murky Waters, which is the backstory for Merc, one of the characters in Heirs of Isildur. And so it took me being in that room with that guy for him to kickstart me with his over energetic, emotional reaction to hearing this stuff. I'm like, dude, yeah, it's the time. Got to make it happen. Here we are, nearly 10 years later, and we're on this live stream. Boom. Never would have thought that.
Nice.
All right, cool.
Nice.
See, that's more the answer that I was going for instead of books that I've read. Where I was the answer that I was thinking, but I'm like, I can't say this. This is going to sound weird compared to everybody else. But Matt,
that's the joy. Everybody has their unique,
I don't know.
reasons. But there's no right answer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Matt and I went to LA Comic-Con in, I think, 2018. And I remember walking along Artist Alley. We were just there. We didn't have a table. And I remember seeing all these creators who I had looked up to and kind of geeking out over them and thinking it was a big deal to go up and meet them. And fast forward a couple years later, and even now, where I'm like, these people are, just colleagues, essentially. But that seems like a very out of place answer compared to everybody else's. But that's what came to my muddled brain. So
still valid.
Yeah, it works.
Exactly. All right, Tyson, you're up, brother. What do you
Oh, for me? Well, I mean, it's a lot like what Ron said, but also I've always had a passion for writing and creating. And for me, it's like I wanted to create the type of comics I wanted to see today, and that they weren't making. I mean, I wanted fun action adventure superhero stories, and we're also episodic, we give in the 80s and 90s and stuff, and you just don't see that now. Even when comics really got bad, they did this right for the trade style, and even good stories were kind of becoming a slog to get through because of how decompressed everything was. And I want to bring that style back of action adventure stories, like the way you'd see that were episodic but also interconnected with ongoing arcs, and also just fun, great art and action, all that stuff. because I just wasn't seeing it. And on the indie scene, I see a lot of great comics, but even a lot of them weren't quite scratching that specific itch. So that's where I came in, I guess. But yeah, a lot of it was also the frustration, like Ron said, with the Captain America becoming a Nazi, and everything that was Star Wars, and of course, I think every illusion I had was totally shattered when that new Warriors with the safe space and Snowflake was announced. That's when I told you, yeah, there's nostalgia in this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last straw for me, and yeah, here I am now.
All right, gotcha. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, full disclosure, I actually have a character named Snowflake in one of my books. It's in Dreamweaver.
Yeah, but your comic is about mice, isn't it? Right?
No, well, that's one of my books. That's the Oswald Chronicles. Dreamweavers has a character called Snowflake. She's a 7-foot-tall werewolf, and she's white with pink highlights. She was named and created by an 8-year-old girl, right? And that's why she named her Snowflake.
Wait, was this before or after 20?
This was in the early 90s. I created this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This was long before the other connotation came to that word.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, in the X-Men comics, like Colossus would call her Ileana a little snowflake. So yeah.
Exactly. All right. So for myself, all right, I've said this story before, but I'll say it again anyway. And I'm pretty sure Jay's heard it before. He's probably sick of hearing it. So when I was a kid, we had a magazine or a paper called the Comic Buyer's Guide. It would come out weekly. This was in the, God, I hate to say it, it's in the 80s that I would get this thing. And I had a subscription. And I remember one day I opened it up. I was like 14 years old or something. And me and my friend were looking through it because I would get it and we would both be there. We'd go like, this is my geek buddy. He was actually an artist, and he was the one that inspired me to get into he's the one that inspired me to stop drawing and start writing, because he was so far beyond me in art. Because I was trying to draw, but once I saw his stuff, I was like, yeah, I can stop. But in that magazine, in that paper, there was an article. Guys from Massachusetts do well for themselves. Make good. And it's issue 2 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles they're talking about, right? And I saw that picture, and I saw it the first time I ever saw the TMNT, and I was like, I could make a comic book better than that. And I've been chasing that sucker ever since, right? and that's my Teenage Ninja Turtle story. So and listen, I love those two guys, but that's what inspired me to really make the leap into independent comic books, because even before then I was planning on doing comics. And the other portion to the story is when I first saw Jack Kirby's Captain Victory from Pacific Comics. And, I was shopping at this store called Super Snipe. And, you only saw Marvel and DC, right? And that was the first indie comic I ever saw. And I always saw that, and it was just so unique and so different from everything else. And I was just like, this dude is making a comic all on his own. I was like, I can make my own stories. Because I've been a writer since I was like 8 years old, but I've never really, I don't have I never had like an itch to write Spider-Man or the X-Men. I like their stories. I like reading them, right? But I don't have that itch to go write them, which has always been a weird thing. I just have no interest. Peter Parker is fine the way he is. This would be my input. Give me J.M. DeMatteis. Craven's last, was it Hunt? Yeah. Give me more of that.
Okay.
All right, Jay, what are your thoughts? It's your question.
All right. So I went from a fan to creator at a convention here in New York City by Columbus Circle. There was a church in the basement. They would do conventions, right? There's people in the New York area know Carbo, right? Mike Carbonaro. He's a promoter here. And he used to run those. And I remember, I would go to pick up my Star Wars figures. I would go to pick up the the superpowers figures that were no longer on shelves, right? This is early 90s. And I remember just seeing guys with their own books that were there, right? It wasn't Marvel, it wasn't DC, it was just whatever, right? This is I guess the beginning of Valiant times, the beginning of Image, but it wasn't them. It was regular guys. I'm like, oh, you don't need to be part of these big publishing houses to get your books out there. And then I found out about yes, Mike Crazy Carbonaro. There you go. And then I looked into Brenner Printing, and the old school heads know Brenner.
Yep.
Offset all the way, baby. Offset all day, every day. That's how you print up your books. But so that's when I flipped the switch. I was like, oh my God, I can take this stuff out there. But the book that made me want to be a creator was the official handbook of the Marvel Universe #2. I was a big Captain America mark, and he was there front and center running the rest of the parade that was behind him. And I got him I got that book before I went off one summer to Puerto Rico, spend the summer at my grandparents' house. And they lived up in the mountains. There was no cable. There was no internet. There was no Nintendo. There was no nothing, right? But I had this little encyclopedia, and I would just write bios. And that's where everything started. It went from just writing bios to expanding those bios to making outlines based on what happened in those bios. And that's it. That's what got me, was that encyclopedia handbook of Marvel Comics. I know, not monumental. I'm sorry. It wasn't Star Wars. I loved all of that stuff. I did. And then I ended up buying just a binder, no paper, just a binder that had the outline of the 25th anniversary grid for Marvel Comics. That right? It was just on a binder, and I would fill the bios in that binder.
Right.
Very cool.
That's great.
Yeah. And Jay, by the way, I'm also a big action figure collector, and I seen behind you. I have a lot of those. Behind you.
Oh, wait till later, Ronald. wait till later tonight, Ronald. We gotta talk some stuff.
Do you have that Galactus?
I do not have that Galactus. No.
You don't have that one?
No, I do have the Giant Man though.
Oh, okay. I'm still doing chores for my wife, not for my mom, right? Not for grandma, for my wife, because of this as a gift. Okay. She calls them Galactus points, and she's cashing in. She's cashing in every day.
It's a smart lady.
That's funny.
Matt, you're up, man.
All right, so I feel like I came in with two questions. I feel like they're going to go through quickly, kind of like your question to JD at the beginning. So I got two questions, because you said we're going to keep it positive. We're going to talk about happy things, happy thoughts. So you can't pick a theme or a genre that you've already worked in. Is there a theme or genre that you would like to work in that you're like, it would make me happy to be able to do fill in the blank that I haven't done right now? I'm going Dee Rosario first, switching it up. JD, you're on the spot.
You dirty Dolphins fan.
That's right.
All right. So in my catalog, I've covered supernatural, I've covered horror, I've covered fantasy, and I've covered superhero. I don't have science fiction, but I am a fan of Event Horizon, so it's really hard for me not to go down that
sci-fi horror
science fiction horror route. Yeah. What was the other? Was it Pandorum? I think it was Pandorum with the Dennis Quaid was the pilot of the ship. Yeah. That was a little horror-ish also. So I would go that sci-fi sub-genre horror thing.
All right, what about you? What about you, JD Squared? What would you say on that one?
You know what? I'll completely flip script on this one. Um, if it was a challenge, right? I think the hardest genre for me to write would be romance.
Oh,
But like you know, because I've played with it in certain thematic things. But I think that would probably be challenging and more interesting to do. A good romance adventure, whether it be in fantasy or science fiction. But I think where it's a couple that goes through and they're actually genuinely in love and they go through whatever they go through.
Oh,
So
I think
JD said he wants to be doing a romantasy. So with JD's next
Well,
book,
what's funny is I've done one,
Oh.
but years before that ever came out. It's about two characters called Master and the Jack, and it's something I haven't released yet. So it's
I
something.
don't know. Look at what your better half is saying right now, buddy.
Yeah.
Look at what your better half is saying right now, buddy.
Because she's saying that because she's read this other work that I've done.
I think I know what you mean, though. You mean like a romance from like a masculine perspective, not like romance novels you see at Barnes and Noble, right? Like,
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll be honest with you, I've never read any of those, so I wouldn't have any experience in that, right? So I mean,
adventure romance type of thing, like what you'd see in the old,
Right.
like the old days.
But like, you know what? Princess Bride is pretty much that, right?
Yeah. Close to it.
close to it, but I mean, there are other considerations, right? Like you look at something like Romancing the Stone, I guess, right? I mean,
That was what I thought too when you
Right.
said
That's
that.
nice.
What came to mind was the Princess Bride, but whatever. Yeah.
Well, there you go. But I mean, the only reason I would say with that one is because I've seen the film, but I haven't pulled it apart. You know what I mean?
You triggered me with Romancing the Stone. You know what I mean? All the lines are coming up. Michael
Good
Douglas,
movie.
the Doobie Brothers broke up. I mean, come on. That's a great fucking line.
all I think about is the Eddie Grant song, the theme song. That's what's going through my head right now. I'm romancing the stone, never leaving my poor heart alone. All right, so Amin, what about you, man? What do you think? What's something that you've not worked in yet? And I'm not saying you're like, this is going to be my next thing, but you're like, if I could ever work in that, that'd be kind of cool because I'd want to have that in my portfolio.
JD hit a good one because I would love to do more horror, but I've never. Yeah, but I think romance. And I'm thinking more like even like the the K drama type of romance where you kind of play with it. To do it it would be an interesting challenge to kind of do it, with my particular style and kind of make it work. But because you don't see a lot of it, and if you think also kind of like of the greats in comics, most of them got their start doing that. So there has to be some sort of, I guess, maybe training ground and knowledge that you got from that to then move on to the other stuff. So yeah, it's almost like one of the filmmakers of today, like itching to want to do like a black and white film, like to kind of be able to do that, like because there's not a lot of demand for it, but when the opportunity comes, like you're like, yes, let's do it. It would be really interesting to kind of tackle that and see where it goes. I mean, who knows? There's not much out there. That could be a new niche market.
All right, Steph, what about you? What's something that you would like to work in, or just be able to say, I'd have fun if I was able to do something in X genre?
First of all, love this question because it's not going to make my head explode. Very simple and to the point. I love it. First thing that came to my mind, and of course this is a little different because Matt and I write everything together, but I am normally a horror writer. I review a lot of horror films, so I can't say that because that is my realm. Everybody knows that as me, so most people would be very surprised Matt is going to puke on camera and probably kick me out of NSIM to say that it would be fun to do rom-com. Not just romance, because I don't want to do anything overt. I have kids. I don't want them to Google my name and find something nefarious. That is not what I'm going to do. That is not what I'm ever going to do. No offense to anybody that does do that, but not ever going to do that. But a light, airy, fun, because everything that we do is usually so serious. And, there's usually high stakes involved. It would be kind of fun to do a little bit of a rom-com.
So you wanted to be like Friends, but in the comic form.
I'm not going to answer that because you will kick me out of Insane.
I'm asking. This is
Not gonna answer that.
Happy.
I would like something light and airy and fun where there's some stakes, but maybe it's not the end of the world stakes. If we couldn't do that, which we will never do because Matt would never agree to a rom-com, then I think a detective noir mystery, a little more
nice.
like, I would love to do that. I love those types of stories, and I think that fits more in the Insim realm. So that would be fun.
That sounds good.
All right, what about you, Tyson? What do you got?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. Well, up to this point, I've only been working on superheroes. I mean, I have always wanted to work on different genres, but I always felt like I couldn't really explore that until I really got my work down to the superhero genres. That's my main thing. So what I have in mind here is I want to write a novel, like, prose and all that. And in science fiction, like dystopian style. I actually have a book. It's in progress of being made that I'm working on when I'm not working on my comics. Like, it's a side project. And I'm really liking it because it's like the opposite of superhero in the sense that instead of being about the characters, it's about the world and how everything functions. Like, you can really get into depth that you can't do in a superhero book because it's not really compatible with in the setting where the premise that everyone's individually awesome rather than the world itself is the premise. So yeah, science fiction is in kind of dystopian and post-apocalyptic is the book I'm working on that I've been interested in, that I've been keen to pursue and hope to get out there sometime.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. What about you, Hero Geek? What do you got?
I'm gonna say historical fiction.
Oh,
what kind
of history?
Yeah, I've been toying around with this idea, but like historical fiction, like really, really out there stuff, like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter or something like that, right?
Or
I have this idea.
Or like Red Dead Undead Nightmare, right?
Yeah, something like that. I've had this idea, Teddy Roosevelt's my favorite U.S. president, and I had this idea of like having him like hunt cryptids along with like what's his name? Nikola Tesla is his weapon designer, that kind of thing. Like he goes to hunt, like
I think that's fun.
Yeah, like that's something that's always been itching at me to do.
Yeah.
Have you read Manifest Destiny?
No.
Image did it, about 60 issues. Sorry, I forget the creative team on it, but it's Lewis and Clark, and on their journey, they encounter different cryptids.
Oh,
so, cool. But I like they didn't have the zhuzh of Tesla, being their cue. That sounds good.
Oh yeah, that actually does remind me. Like, well, you with this story concept, you say you want to be like a comic. You want to be a comic book, right? Like,
I do it, but probably like a graphic novel.
I see. Yeah, kind of reminds me of. I've also been interested in that too. Like, I had this idea of I always had this idea that of a Predator story where the Predator attacks a squad of U.S. soldiers during World War II on like Normandy or something.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I would love to create a story that's like.
You know what? I think there's this new thing on this animated thing on Hulu that kind of has a story like that. I think. Have you guys seen this animated Predator series? It's gonna be on Hulu.
It came out this weekend.
Yeah,
they did.
They actually
Hunter
have
Hunters,
that.
I think.
Yeah, I think they're doing World War One. Actually.
World War One. Okay.
Yeah. But I've of course I always have these different ideas, and I've had the concept where it's not Predator exactly for all these reasons, but it's a basic idea of an alien creature coming to Earth to hunt a bunch of U.S. soldiers during the Normandy D-Day and stuff.
That sounds
cool. That's like what you said, like historical fiction. You do some out there things with these great settings and ideas. Like,
yeah.
All right. So for me, I would say, and again, this is not saying this is going to be the next thing that we do. This is not saying, it would be fun. It would be cool if in some place that we were able to make a cool Clue-style murder mystery. Something where one of the things I really like about the original Clue movie was here's the end of the movie. Oh, here's the other end of the movie. Here's how the movie could have also played out. But actually it played out this other way. So like they write it in a way that you can have multiple different endings to it. You have remember those books we all had when we were younger,
Choose
where
your
it's
own
like
adventure, yeah.
where you could be like if you want to go down the hallway, turn to page 6. If you want to use the elevator, go to page 24, like the choose your own adventure kind of thing. It'd be cool to be able to have some kind of whodunit murder mystery
I
that's
love
not.
that.
I think Matt and I just decided our next story because we both
Yeah.
said
Yeah, with
mystery.
that. Yeah.
A
A little crime noir.
rom-com set in a murder mystery whodunit. There we go.
You know the thing with Clue though, right? You know that total the multiple endings was only when it came to VHS.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there was like different ending every time you go to the theater.
Yes, different
Yeah.
theaters were shipped different canisters with
I
different
love
endings.
Oh wow.
That was a great concept.
Yeah.
That was the early way to get people to be like, I got to go buy the ticket 4 times. I got to go to different
Yeah.
stores. I think
Great.
You know,
Genius
when you bring
Spoiler
that up,
alert,
it's like,
What We Do in the
no one-
Shadows tried to do something similar with
Oh,
Yeah.
but
Wait,
it's-
the movie or the show?
if you guys go to watch What We Do in the Shadows without spoiling it, so Steph and I were watching this thing, and I think I was watching it on broadcast, and she was watching it on Hulu. And we got to a certain point, me in Florida, her in California, and I think that she started laughing hysterically at something. And she's like, I can't believe that just happened. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Because right in the middle of the series finale, they have about a 5-minute scene in the middle of the series finale that goes completely 3 different directions that you don't get to see in any way unless you go online and you can see, show me all the different middle scene parts to What We Do in the Shadows. It was incredible marketing, and it was super cool because you didn't need any of those 3 endings. It doesn't change the final outcome, but it was cool that they're like, we're not going to give you the whole thing if you're watching this on FX. We're not going to give you the whole thing on Hulu. You got to go onto YouTube and find the whole thing.
I love that. Oh my
It was
god.
so fun.
Locked in on that. That's cool.
So
Well,
JD Squared, am I allowed to ask another question? Because I got another one I think would be fun.
Well, hold on to it. Hold on to it because I
I'm
want
going to hold on to it. I'm not going to ask that question.
Yeah, just hold on to it because
Hold it.
because the thing is, your last question inspired all of us. So here we go. Tales to Inspire. Do you want me to play this video?
That's
Ron.
a good one. Look at that.
Good segue.
Love your segues, buddy.
I'm trying. Ron, do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, please do.
In the vast universe of imagination, where heroes emerge from every corner of creativity, one anthology dares to unite them all. From the pages of a bygone era, the indomitable Rebound, a hero forged from Bronze Age brilliance, fighting to keep hope alive with every leap and bound. The spirit of Tokusatsu lives on. Riserman, a hero deeply influenced by the vibrant and dynamic world of Tokusatsu. With the energetic flair and inventive spirit of classic Japanese superhero shows, Riserman confronts every challenge with unwavering determination. In a city about to enter the cyber age, a lone sentinel stands against the rising tide of corruption. Enter Data Cell, the hero of the cyber age. And amidst the challenges of our world, the ultimate symbol of truth and justice, Paragon Prime, the hero who inspires us all to reach beyond our limits. Join the adventure, embrace the inspiration, support the journey of Tales to Inspire.
All right, very nice. I like it.
Cool. Yeah. That trailer was I put a lot of thought into the concept of that trailer. Quite a bit, actually.
It was fun.
That was actually a very well done
Yeah,
video,
that was
man.
really
good.
Props to you on the video. Good stuff.
I'm just wondering, you guys, you know Critical Bless, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the one who did the voice.
He
That's
did
pretty
the voice.
That was
Yeah.
RJ?
Very cool.
Gotcha. All right. So, Ron, walk us through your campaign.
Okay, so basically this is a superhero anthology. So each character is made by a different creator, by a different writer. That's my character, Paragon Prime. And he's basically the Superman, Captain America archetype. You know, the Boy Scout, if you will. But yeah, I mean, basically, like for him, I guess my biggest influence, I mean, it's like comic books and stuff. but I would say the biggest influence was probably Superman the animated series. Like that, to me, that show growing up just set the right tone with everything, the way it told a story, the way they wrote Superman in that, and that's basically my main inspiration for the character. Along with Captain America, Mr. Fantastic, a bunch of different characters, pretty much. But yeah,
Cool.
Mhm.
And this one's by Tyson.
Yeah, that's actually a cover of from the first issue they put up, but that I'll have a different cover later. But yeah, that's Rebound, and that's him carrying his girlfriend. Yeah, well, I took inspiration from Spider-Man, but I also, how should I put this up? His power set was like it's tactile telekinesis. I thought that was an interesting concept to have. Telekinesis applied to the body rather than lifting with things with the mind, but to enhance your abilities and what I wanted to create, of course, was, like I said earlier, that classic superhero action adventure episodic type story. So here he is rescuing his beautiful girlfriend on the cover.
Yeah, the thing about Tyson is, like, I also edited his first 3 issues, right, Tyson?
4, actually.
4 issues, yeah. I've been editing his first 4 issues, and Tyson has this incredible ability of, like, genuinely capturing that 80s, 90s Bronze Age feel with the stories and the way he... Really, really, really great stuff. It's been exciting to, like, read them and edit them, and it's awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's mainly this type of stuff I read, so I guess I just absorbed that in.
Mm-hmm. So if you really like Spider-Man comics from the 80s, early 90s, it's spot on.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And then what's this one, Rizerman?
So Rizerman is created by Stefan Kirkpatrick, and it's basically common writer, Gotcha Man, it's Japanese anime superhero shows, Ultraman, that's the main influence for that character. And yeah, I connected with him on Twitter, and he showed me the character. He showed me a lot of the art, and I wanted to. Each character has an overall theme of being inspirational heroes, but I wanted each character to feel different, to be unique. I didn't want for all the characters to be the same or feel the same. I want to tell different kinds of stories, and that's why I wanted Rizerman for the anthology as well. And that is Data Cell by Chris Ville. So basically, it's like a cyberpunk. It's this female cop who gets frozen. She wakes up in the future, and she has these cybernetic, enhancements, and very cyberpunk hero kind of feel. So yeah, basically, just they're all pretty different, but they're all heroes. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right. It looks good. Now, how many pages is the anthology, if you don't mind me asking?
64, I believe.
I think it's 65, but
65,
like story pages, and does that include like bonus content or anything, like art gallery or whatever?
I think we have some art stuff in there. Yeah, some variant covers and whatnot, I believe. But yeah, that story's going to be in black and white, but everything else is going to be in color.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. That pretty impressive. Chris actually drew all of his own pages. Like
he drew and wrote. So he's writer and an artist on that.
Compared to the rest of us, where we just write and then we had a professional artist. I mean, that's pretty cool.
It's a cartoonist.
Right.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, the pages look really nice. I mean, now this sort of thing, are you guys is this just something you just wanted to do, Ron? Or is this something like, are you planning to do this over and over again? Are you planning to pull in other creators?
I don't know yet. That's kind of still really up in the air. My next campaign after this is going to be a solo Paragon Prime comic.
Yeah. In fact, he originally was going to do this. Well, We haven't decided yet. He was going to do this big graphic novel, but I actually proposed the idea of him splitting up to like a mini series because you can really accept episodically faster and be cheaper that way.
Yeah, and Tyson's completely right about that. So I've shifted gears with my.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether you decided or not. So.
I think I have. I've thought about it a lot. So it's a really good idea, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, it looks really, really nice. I mean, you guys are already funded. You got another 8 days for 44 backers, so you're well on your way. Looks fantastic. So everybody.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna have to hire Critical Blast to do the fulfillment, but at 44, I can do that myself. It's not a lot of people. You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, usually fulfillment, a couple hundred.
Yeah, that I can. Oh, we just got 45.
There you go.
Steph and I are guilty of that.
Nice.
Your video had me laughing. I love
fun.
a good video.
It honestly was fun.
Yeah,
that was a good video.
Yeah.
I wanted to give it that Super Friends feel. I don't know if. Yeah.
All right.
I
Cool.
totally got that. Like, I
Awesome.
totally got that feel from it. Even if you hadn't have said that, that's what I would have gotten from it, which is great.
Nice.
All right. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
Lot
So
of
look,
fun.
so you have 45 backers. You got 8 days to go. So everybody, go buy a book, man.
Yes, please. We want to get to 2,000. That's really we want to be at 2,000 if possible.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, listen, you're well on your way. You got another 8 days. I don't see any reason why you can't do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Amin, do you want me to play this video?
Sure, why not?
All right, cool.
Hi, my name is Amin, the author and illustrator of The Road to Oz. Welcome to the Kickstarter for The Road to Oz Chapter 2. For returning backers, thank you very much for your continued support and joining me in this journey. For new backers, let me give you a little synopsis of what's happened and what is happening now in Chapter 2. So in Chapter 1, we did explore how Scarecrow ended up in Kansas. Won't give you a little bit too much since you can read a little bit more about it in the book. But with Chapter 2, what we're going to explore now is the world of Kansas. And the character named Dot, who is this girl that lives with her adoptive family, who she is, what her relationship is to Kansas, and the story. Well, you're just going to have to read the book to find out. Now, this story per se, not just Chapter 2, but the entire storyline, fits perfectly, unknowingly, and to me, with the first 2 books of The Road to Oz. They're not canon. It's a little bit of my creative twist on the story. However, it still respects the source. There are connections to Wicked, which I'll have to give a shout out to a friend of mine who pointed that out. But none of this was actually intentional. It was more just one defining the story within Oz that I really kind of felt like I wanted to tell with my own sort of creative twist. So what do you get with the Kickstarter? Well, not only do you get like a really cool spiffy book, but as those found out in the Chapter 1 Kickstarter, I am adding extra pages of artwork to this, which are only exclusive to the Kickstarter editions of these books. They will not be included in print editions outside of Kickstarter, nor will they show up in a graphic novel. Let it be if I self-publish that or get that through a publisher. These are only exclusive through these books. So not only do they become obviously instant collector items, but there's a nice little storyline that I started in Chapter 1 that I will continue on with the rest of the books as I go through them. Now, what's the status of the project right now? Well, as I mentioned in Chapter 1, all 4 chapters are fully penciled. I'm going through the inking right now. So with Chapter 2, I'm about, I think about 2/3 of the way of inking. It is being colored at this moment, so we're almost at the halfway mark with the coloring, and I already have my script and lettering done. So basically, what is the funding going to be used for? We're paying the talent, which is my letterer, colorist, as well as cover artist, or should I say colorist. Also for the printing cost. Now that we're talking about printing costs, how is that going to reflect in terms of tariffs? Well, I got all this really kind of ironed out. So the tariffs are not going to be a big major issue per se. And not even the shipping. I already got the shipping kind of really nailed down with Chapter 1. It's really just getting the word out and wanting to get more people to want to read this book in order to move on to the other books and then the next volume. So I definitely, if you really loved Chapter 1 and you were backed Chapter 2, let everybody know about it. It's a really spiffy, not only is it a spiffy book, but it's a really unique storyline compared to some of the other stuff that's out there. And it's in full respect to the source material written by Frank L. Baum, with a few little kind of twists and nicks and turns all throughout. But overall, as you can see in the reader reviews from chapter 1, a lot of people really dug it. It's a little bit more psychological than I think most people would think for a story from Oz. But all in all, it's a really fun journey. It's been a fun time for me to kind of draw it and keep on exploring. There's tons and tons and tons that are coming, and pending some of the schedule, I'll see if I can start squeezing some more stuff in there. Now, one of the tiers I really want to talk about, I think there's the dot bundle and the Scarecrow bundle. Now, the dot and Scarecrow bundles do come with sketches, unique. I draw them at the moment, prep them up, and ship them out. Now, the cool thing about these sketches is that not only is it of the characters, but pending which ones you're going to get, the sketches themselves are little tidbits and insights into the future storylines of the Road to Oz. So those backers of chapter 1, quite a number of them got some really cool stuff, which hints about things that are going to happen in the future storyline. So that's another cool thing too. Not only do you get like a really nice book, but now you're going to get something extra that will play out nicely later down the road. Now, my scheduling right now is this Kickstarter should be done in July. I'm hoping that by August, September, I got the printed copies in my possession, and then I'll start shipping that out late August, September, pending that there's no real big dramatic thing going on with tariffs or anything like that. I mean, that's the goal. And as soon as August comes around and those books are shipping out, I will be starting the Kickstarter for chapter 3. But anyways, let you take a look and read over everything. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, do feel free to reach out to me in the comment section. I do read them on a daily basis, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. As long as it's nothing that spoils, I'll be more than happy to kind of give you a little more insight and explain to you a little bit more on where I came with the ideas and kind of like some of the direction of where this is going. Not too much, because I want to make sure that you kind of read that before it gets spoiled. Anyhow, welcome to the Kickstarter for the Road to Oz Chapter 2. I'm glad you're here. Please give a shout out and support this book. I guess I'll see you later. Bye.
All right, cool.
All right. I have some questions because
shoot.
Like, there's been a lot of stories told, from Oz, because Oz is obviously public domain, so everybody and their mother has done something with Oz. How did you find a unique story among the sea of Oz stories that there are out there?
I think in that one, it became more of, because everyone's concentrating on Oz, and we're trying, and the main characters, but there was some sort of weird. Someone had mentioned Time Cop in the comments, so I think that kind of got into my subconscious, and I decided, why not tell the story, but of one of the characters of Oz that got into Kansas, and then trying to explain sort of that mess of what would happen if that occurred, and also sort of like the behind the scenes of who is manipulating everything and fixing stuff, but also kind of maintaining a status quo for things to happen. And that whole premise of why Oz failed and to tell that story, I think that sort of became sort of like the primary statement to then kind of build out the story. And that really helped me to kind of do things a little bit differently, but it's still very familiar. So yeah, if you're a fan of the movie or the books,
yeah,
you're going to
that's something that, like with anything public domain like this, like this, for example, you're dipping into a world that a lot of other people have dipped into, and it's pretty challenging, I imagine.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I did so much research, because the first images that came to mind were I was drawing the Scarecrow and the girl, something similar to that, and I was like, okay, this is interesting, but I immediately started drawing the Kansas background, and I was like, okay, so I'm already starting to kind of explore something. And so of course, doing a lot of research about the Dust Bowl and all the struggles and watching old movies. Like there's the Ken Burns documentary. I watched Grapes of Wrath, which also deals with that. And I think all those things kind of just gave me enough food for thought to create the storylines. And at this point, they're pretty much writing themselves. You know, the wizard is involved, and that there's a twist on that one later on. Belina, the chicken, which I know those in chapter 1 saw, like that character was introduced with a particular twist. And of course, then we have, you know, Dot and Scarecrow. No mention of Dorothy as of yet, but yeah, she will show up since like I said, I spent a lot of time kind of figuring out what to do, how to draw it. And then once I started drawing it, I went with the old, you know, Stanley Kirby method of just doing a basic plot line. I just kept drawing. So I drew all this stuff and maybe over the course of like 3-4 years.
Oh wow. You actually drew all that?
Yeah, all this is drawn. And I have all four chapters drawn. And now as I'm doing the Kickstarters, I'm inking them and kind of doing a lot of, obviously since it's been some time, so there's a lot of changes that have been done, improvements here and there. And I think also because at this point the characters are sort of writing themselves, so they've become very vocal.
That's pretty cool, because I'm just so used to people professionally writing and having another artist do it. Like that's how most of us do it. So
I had struggles, man. I had really big struggles with like looking at like my Google Doc and for hours on end and typing a word and then deleting it. And then I just decided, okay, let me just go back to the source. And I remember old interviews with, you know, Stanley and Kirby, especially Lee, talking about, I would just write up a plot and give it to the guys and they would draw it. And I was like, that's a great idea. Let me just do that. And that alleviated so much stress of, how am I going to write this? Am I writing it correctly? And I just said, I know what the plot is. So let me just go off on that and just keep on going. I think Miller did that with Jeff Darrow on Hard Boiled. And I think the infamous comment was like, I remember talking with Jeff Darrow one day. He's like, Miller told me car is going down Hollywood and Vine and makes a right. And of course, what does he do? He does 4 pages of like this insane detail of all that. And I figured, okay, let me just do that. So that allowed me to keep myself within, I guess, the guardrails of the story, but I could go in all sorts of different directions, and that's allowed me to really kind of spin off on a lot of little details that once you read the book and you go back, you'll catch them. So even with the first chapter, I already told who is the person that's manipulating everything, but you're not going to figure that out for sure until you read it all. Even though I'm telling you, you're not going to figure it out until it's all done. So it's been a lot of, I think all those hours of watching, you know, Tarantino's movies, especially Pulp Fiction, are starting to pay off.
So how many pages per issue? Is it 24, 32?
32 to 34 pages, pending how crazy I go with the extended storylines, which are about 5 to 6 pages on each issue. So the Kickstarters are going to be about 32 to 34 pages of just pure artwork and story.
Okay, cool. Now, what type of frequency are you looking for release? Are you doing like 1 book a year, twice a year, 3 times a year?
It's actually, the first chapter 1 was funded last fall, and it finally got shipped in January. Okay. So I have this one, and then I'm hoping to get all 4 done by the end of the year.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Right.
Yeah. And because I already have all the stuff penciled, it's just more of just kind of inking it, and I have a good colorist. So at this point, it is kind of adopting sort of like somewhat like high production pipeline, because I already have the bulk of the work done. I think the hardest part was like the story and the art. Now it's just a matter of just getting it to look good and a lot of art directing. Also, so my colorists, I am treating my colorists as directors of photography in terms of like shadows over here and doing over this, and this has to be this certain color here, but a certain color over there, and sort of a lot of like color hints. So, I think also the color and director of photography color palette from Breaking Bad also came into play a lot in terms of the purpose and the intentions of everything out there. So a lot of thought went into it, but it's been a lot of fun kind of seeing it come to life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The long nights are worth it. The long nights are definitely.
Congratulations for drawing it out yourself, man.
It's I mean, like many artists, I was working with different companies, and I think it got frustrating where it's like, you want to get a book, but you can't. You got to do this other stuff, and then I'm like, you know what? I want to do something of my own. I want to do something where I don't have to always kind of depend and fight to get these projects that always seem to fail, and then I'm always the person who has to kind of pick up the slack to make it a success, or at least to get it to the finish line. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to kind of have something that's mine, that's under control. And I think my main inspiration on that front has been like, obviously David Lapham with Stray Bullets. Jeff Smith with Bone has been like a really big one in terms of how they kind of created these things and just went for it. And so that's kind of helped out a lot. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely worth all the headache and the late nights and stressing out about stuff. But there's that certain dare I say happiness when it's and you get especially when the colors are bringing that stuff in, and then you put in the lettering and the dialogue, and you're like, okay.
you could be having a really, really bad day at work, and then you get home and you get an email with a new page. You're like, oh, my day's better automatically.
Yeah, and I think like everybody, like when you get that first one done, like I had chapter 1 done for a month, and yeah, it was that little stress of like, okay, it's all done. Is it good? Is it not good? And that PDF is ready to go out for printing, and then you just that one day you're like, screw it, I'm doing it. It's did. I've done as much corrections as I can that I can spot and just let it out. And then when that box finally came back for those printed copies, it was like, I did it. There it is. It's the first one. And then you're like, let's do it again. So it's a healthy addiction. But yeah, you got to work on it.
I can't agree with healthy. It's an addiction.
It's definitely an addiction, yeah, for sure. But listen, it's better than alcohol. Yeah.
I don't know if I can agree with that one either. I don't
know. Well, it's funny. This one might be cheaper than alcohol, so
Oh, that I could agree with. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, granted, there have been. I think on some pages, sake has been a great inspirational tool for some of the stuff. Especially I think for the skies and the stars, which is a lot of work. But at this point, like I see them and I see all the constellations and whatnot. So thankfully because of some of the sake, but up to a point, because then of course then you get into like some real like Steranko effect stuff. I'm like, no, not in this book.
Gotcha, but it looks really good, man. I mean, it looks fantastic. You got 25 days to go. You got 73 backers. You're 68% there. You got a little bit of work to do, but I don't think much. I don't think you're gonna have a problem making this goal at all. So I think you can get there soon. All right, so very good.
Very nice. Who here prefers Return to Oz than the original Wizard of Oz movie? Like the really weird, dark Return to Oz.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, it's a good movie.
I really like that.
All right, now let's get on to some The Serpent's Mistress.
All right.
Oh.
Do you, Matt? Do you want me to play this video?
Absolutely. It's only 90 seconds long, and it does tell you a lot about what goes on in the story.
Very cool.
All right, you want to
Yeah,
walk
so
us?
Tatsumi the Serpent Mistress is the brand new series that Steph and I co-writing. I'm the lead writer. Steph is the assistant writer and the editor on the series. Tatsumi the Serpent Mistress, as it said in the video, imagine Pirates of the Caribbean and One Piece meeting your favorite martial arts heroine. Tatsumi is a character that was in our I Am Keto fantasy horror one-shot that we did that's set in the fictional Far East. She believes she's the only person that has survived this massacre of her empire by the Dark Conquestors and Soul Rippers. Think of them like how you would think of a vampire or a zombie, how once they come in contact with you, they can turn you into a post-human and basically suck the life right out of you. She thinks she's the only person that has survived this massacre. She is hell-bent on retribution and revenge, but she realizes that she can't do it on her own. So she gets in a little fishing boat and sails out to sea, not knowing where she's going to go, who she's going to meet. And she ends up getting picked up by the crew of the pirate ship, the Sidestalker. And that's where our story starts. We have a fun time exploring this prim, proper Onabagashia from a fictional Far East land, having to interact with a dirty, grungy pirate crew and having fun in this environment. So we are working on issue 1 right now. When I say working on, we're not really working on it. We're just getting some of the colors back. All the inking is done. We're already into issue 2. We're on the script for issue 3. This is the campaign for this issue. There's only 4 days left in it, and we would love to be able to see us get to some stretch goals. We have some killer stretch goals out there. We've unlocked some awesome items, and we want to see the last few days be the best few days.
All right, cool. Now, is
Getting
this-
Red Sonia, also the Count of Monte Cristo vibes.
For sure. Absolutely.
A little Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah.
Totally okay with that.
Yeah, as you see, we've got some stuff we've unlocked. We have a custom leather worker that we've worked with on many occasions that has some themed things that they've created for us. We have the baby serpent head keychains. We've got the Soul Ripper skull pouch right there, which is basically a D&D dice bag. And then they also have the pirate hats, the Sidestalker pirate hats that are all available, handcrafted leather. And then just last week, probably a couple days ago, we just unveiled some really cool, high-quality engraved wooden covers for this campaign that we are super happy to have in there. So the red one and the black one are actually painted wood that then is laser engraved and sealed after the fact. So that way when it's engraved, it's actually engraved back down to the wood side or to the wood level. And then the wood cover is just regular treated wood and then engraved. So you've got like a good wood placard and then sealed again as well.
Very, very cool.
Very cool.
Yep. Very. All right, cool. Now, is this a one shot?
No, this is actually going to be a series. We've got right now. We believe that this arc is going to be about 5 issues. We know where we want to be as far as where we want this arc to go. We already know the entire plotting through probably about the middle of issue 4, and we know the set pieces as we go on. Once we get to the end, we'll see if it's going to stay at 5. One of the things we're doing, we're trying to treat this similar to you would if you're watching a TV show where you'll have the overarching season story arc, but then every episode is going to have some set pieces that are unique to that episode. We're making sure that that's how it is. The set pieces in issue 1 are super fun. They help to direct this thing forward. The set pieces in issue 2, once we get there, we can't wait to get there. Obviously, we don't want to talk too much about that because that's not the campaign for issue 1. But issue 1, we are super, super stoked with the story that's told, the environment that's there, and I know that there's a couple things that Steph is really happy about with us, and I know one of the things I'm going to tee it right up to Steph is that the fact that this is the first time we've had a female lead. You want to talk about that some?
Yeah, I mean, and I've never felt like I've never been like one of those people who's like, oh, we have to have a female lead. It just felt natural with Tatsumi. She felt like the right person to, and it doesn't mean that we haven't had strong female characters in the past because every story that we do has a strong female character. It's just that Tatsumi in general felt like the right person for that, which of course I love, but it was never like, let's force it. Let's shove it down people's throats. We wanted it to feel like a natural course. And with her, it felt like, okay, this is the right thing. So that's super exciting. I love pirate stories. I love swashbuckling telling just
I
adventure
was
stories.
about to say that the pirate characters look super fun.
Yeah, they are,
super
and we
fun.
had so much fun creating them, and that's what I love. I mean, Tatsumi is an amazing character. The side characters, the supporting characters are, I feel very proud with what Matt and I came up with. It is really a fun story. There is more of like there are stakes involved. There's the horror aspect, which is not as great as it was with like maybe Keto. But it's enough there that where you're like, okay, there's some substance to this story, which I love.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering something. I'm not sure what you said earlier, but is this like set in a historical setting, or is it like a fictional world?
We've basically made the decision to any story that we said we want to have it in a fictional world. There may be some things that are pulled culturally and put there, but we want when somebody, our mantra is we want to create characters you can relate to and universes you want to escape into. If we say it's fictional, we do that so that way people don't go, well, but
it's just so much easier.
Yeah, 19.
Neither of us are history majors. Unfortunately, I love history.
Where the One Piece element comes in.
That's exactly what it is. We want it to be inspired by other cultures. But we're not history majors. We don't know enough.
I see. Yeah, the main reason I was curious because I saw the mix of names. I was like, wait, where all these people are from? So I was like, wait, is this history or?
Yeah,
I'm big into a lot of bands and a lot of culture from the Far East, and so there's things in Japanese culture, some stuff in Chinese culture, some stuff in Korean culture that's all really cool, and we wanted to bring those things in, even in the art styles. And then you'll see, when we worked with Alessandro, the main artist, we even told him the ship is coming from the port of Alabastus, which is a port that we've created. And we gave him some guidelines around how this port came up. We don't need to get into them specifically now, but he really enjoyed the fact that we gave him a lot of free reign of what the architecture could be, couldn't be, and all that, because we really wanted to allow the setting to be itself. Like we said about One Piece. One Piece is its own thing. The rules of their universe are completely wild, but you know that the rules of the universe, they're going to stick to those rules, and that's what we want to do. Yeah. We've got 4 different covers, 3 main covers, and then a sketch cover. There's a bunch of tiers on there that are called Fool's Gold tiers that come with a yellow and gray, basically supposed to be silver and gold poker chips.
I like those pirate hats.
Yeah,
they're so cool.
We've got shirts, we've got socks. We are well known for the socks that we add into campaigns. This campaign, I think, has got the 9th and 10th different sock variations. There's a glow in the dark Soul Ripper shirt. We like to have all kinds of support merch. We want our stories to be great. We want our stories to be things that you really want to know what the next issue is going to entail. But we also want it to be, when you put that book into your short box or you put it onto your shelf, that there's still other things that are going to live on in that IP. You're going to wear the shirt. You're going to have the socks on, or you're going to be listening to the metal music, which that video is all, the video and the music was all composed right here, sitting in this chair for the campaign video. Yeah, we've got a whole, with our other titles, we do Heirs of Isildur, Tales from Nocturnia, I Am Keto, Misfits Clubhouse. There's all kinds of metal music, all kinds of music that's been done. So we try to make sure that all those things are in the add-ons as well. So if you're like, dude, I've never heard of you jokers before, that was kind of cool, and what's this Tales from Nocturnia medieval fantasy thing? We make sure that there's stuff from that in the add-ons that you can go and add on, so that you can get your hands on that stuff as well.
Yep.
It reminds me, Tyson, you need to put the retro cover of Rebound 2 onto a t-shirt for the next campaign. That thing is super awesome. I've been asking Tyson to put the cover of that on a t-shirt.
Like, expand into that kind of merchandise for sure.
True, yeah.
No, I mean, listen, this is awesome. I mean,
Very cool.
You guys always knock it out the park. So
Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
And your stuff comes quicker than you I was going to say admit to, than you advertise. So I remember you were saying on the last Heirs to Isildur that there was a delay in shipping, and then the next day I had the package. I was like,
yeah, how it happens sometimes.
Right.
Maybe they do that on purpose.
Service and everything.
Yeah.
Literally today, in the middle of having Facebook decided to wanted to potentially temporarily suspend my account, We've been fulfilling the physical parts of Misfits Clubhouse, all the shenanigans so far. Got the PDFs for it worked out today. Going to finish up the physical stuff hopefully tomorrow, while also working on this campaign, while also working on the script for the next one. So we're definitely busy over here. We would love to see. We'd love to see everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening, and even the guys that are on the show go up and take a look at the campaign and give it a chance. We know it's a story that you guys are going to like. We've got digital tiers, physical tiers, collector's tiers. We try to make sure that everything we do is high quality so that if you invest your money in it, you're going to feel like in this crappy economy that we're in, that it was money well spent or stuff that you could display and be proud of to be able to show off to your people, even to your Jets fans, JD. They need something. They need some hope in the New York Jets fandom. And now you can be like, listen, you may not have hope in your team and then Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, but I've got this cool stuff right here.
Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback anymore.
Well, Justin Fields, excuse me, Justin Fields versus Aaron Rodgers, game 1 of the NFL season. You got to face your old quarterback.
Says the Dolphins fan who hasn't been to.
You know what? We gotta throw like some stakes behind our smack talking. You know what I mean? And somehow like have the loser fly to the other team's home game. So either you come up to New York or I go down.
He's putting some big dollar stakes on this, man. That's
I'm not a Chiefs fan, but at least my team has been to the Super Bowl.
Hey.
We may have lost a lot.
I would rather put stakes like STEAKS. Put some prime rib on there.
We could do that.
Yeah.
We could do that too.
There's certain levels of shit talking you do.
But first and foremost, we'd love to have you guys go up and take a look at the campaign. Super excited about this thing. Can't wait to get this series off the ground. We did talk about I Am Keto, which is the prequel that where Tatsumi comes from. If you're like, yeah, I want to get my hands on that too, we do have the PDF, we have the digitals, we have all the covers for that in there as well, so that way if you're the kind of person that wants to collect stuff, you've got all the ability to collect it in this campaign.
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, you got what? 4 days left. You got 132
4 days
back.
left. Ends Thursday and $242 away from the next physical stretch goal where we get to add some stuff into every physical backer's hands.
All right, cool. Well, I think they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it because you're not far from there. Very nice. Looks awesome. You guys always, like I said, you guys always knock it out the park. Beautiful book. Great creators. Go check it out. You got 4 days, but don't wait. Get it now.
I agree with you. That's exactly right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right. Real quick, I'll throw up my campaign. What do I have left? I think I got 8 days left. This is Magi's Grace #2. This is issues 1 and 2. Both of them are available. This is a book I do together with C. Michael Lanning. Or sometimes he is our co-host here, and he's mad cool. He's an artist. This is the story of Magi and his partner Grace, and what they are is they're two people who are involved with basically hunting down and solving problems that occur between the mystical and cryptids. So whenever there's an issue occurring between those two societies, these are the people they call in to solve them. And currently we have vampires encroaching in the world of H.P. Lovecraft and the Innsmouth, the individuals live in Innsmouth. So it's fish people and vampires. So
nice.
Okay.
Love it.
So there we go. And we have we have regular covers, we have sexy covers, we have all kinds of things. So if you want, you can go check it out. We have just a little bit for everybody. And this is actually a second campaign that I'm running on this. So this is a catch up. So if you didn't support it the first time, you get a second chance. So we got 7 days left. 59 backers. We've already met our goal, so it's going to ship. It's already shipped before. It's going to ship again. So thank you so much, everybody. Go check it out. Thank you. Now, Matt, you got a question?
Yeah, man.
Cough.
Oh, listen, this is actually a good one. This is a good one. So,
wait a second. Hold on. I think Jay's trying to say something to me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm serious. I didn't see it. My apologies.
Okay. Is everything okay?
I
just want to make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah. Well, okay. Jay's never okay. So, but
never okay. Never okay.
All right. Here we go.
For my therapist to decide. Because I'm doing action figures in this tumultuous environment, so I am nowhere near okay. Nowhere near.
If you ever thought you were damaged, you haven't talked to Jay enough.
But I'm actually gonna take the risk again, and
Cool.
and give it a shot. Um, right now, there's gonna be 6 figures available at launch, and I'm gonna be in Joe Fest in Augusta, Georgia, on June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. There, we will show off the stretch goal figures if we can get to that point. We are looking for a lot more than we raised, than we didn't raise the first time, and it's almost a good thing that we didn't hit the goal the first time because of the way everything imploded afterwards. But things are changing. I am actually speaking to my manufacturers. Right, we have an A and a B as a just in case, getting our price points set up, and a lot of questions that Matt had asked me last time we were here. I was definitely going over, reviewing, and that's one of the things we're going to be doing at Joe Fest is getting in touch with, well, the people that we're selling this to exactly, right? Those folks who are into that 1/18 scale, old school G.I. Joe size, right? That's 4 inches. We're looking at the community. We're going right there into the heart of them. We're going to be taking the prototypes with us, as well as unpainted 3D prototypes, so that way people can mess around with it a little bit, test the articulation. And Matt, one of the answers to your question is we will have them film some testimonials there that we could use in the Kickstarter, right? And also in whatever social that we're going to be using to promote the campaign as well. That's not something that we get a chance to do with many of our books because, well, once we get it ready, right, we're launching our campaign within 2 to 3 weeks of having it in our hands. So there's a hell of a lot of buildup going into this. This is not going to be an immediate launch. There are still some things that need to be ironed out, but I'm hoping that we can drop this bad boy and hit our goal, man.
Nice.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So where's your goal going to be on this compared to last time, and when do you think you're going to launch?
Mhm.
Right now, we're looking at 66.
$66?
Yeah, I wish.
6,600?
Hey,
Valid question. That was a valid question.
we're looking at 66K. So whereas last time my price point
My
through
goodness.
China was $6 per unit. Right now we're looking at $12 per unit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was also the quote that I was giving from my backup printer in Colombia to begin with. So it's not like it's a number that I did not expect, right? And that includes our shipping and not our shipping, our packaging, our molds, and our manufacturing, right? Our unit cost, right? Because the molds is going to be like the most money coming out of this. We're looking at almost 29,000 for my molds because I'm going to need more than one per figure, and we're looking at 6 figures, which can be mixed and matched depending on the way the molds are built up. So that's a scary fucking number, guys and lady. That's a scary number, and I don't want to get kicked out of my house or my apartment, right? So I gotta hit this. I gotta hit this.
All right. Okay. Let me shut that one down before I get any more scared for you. Man, like I said, I did my own figure. I know what it's like, and
I know.
that's a big number.
That's a big ask. That's a big ask. That's a big ask, dude.
All right. So, Matt, your question.
Right, so I don't know how close you are to wrap it up, but I feel like this might be a good wrap question here for you, JD. So this is one that we all can think about. So you can't say the obvious person. So like JD can't say JD because that'd be like easy. If you're already working with somebody on a project, you can't say them. So is there somebody that you've previously worked with in any way that you really hope you have an opportunity to work with again? And why is it exciting to you to think about that you might have a chance to work with that person? I mean, whether it's possible or not, who's somebody you're like, man, I really liked working with this person. It'd be cool to be able to work with them again. So we're going to go this time to Mr. Calderon first, since I put Mr. Rosario on the spot the last time.
All right. My default answer is always Daphne, but I'm always work with her, so that does it. So we're gonna have to
So Daphne is exactly the answer of she's not allowed to be answered.
She's exactly.
I already gave you that out.
Right. Okay. So the other person was, and here's the thing, I'm actually working with this person again, and his name is Matt Luntz. He's my old partner. We did Dreamweavers together back in the '90s, and we did 3 issues of it and won a one-shot special. It's for a 6-issue limited series. I'd written the 6 issues a while back, and we're back together again, and we're going to put it out. So we're going to finish the series. So and he was the guy that I probably always wanted to get back together with and work with him. So his name is
cool.
Matt.
What about you, Hero Geek? Is there anybody out there that you've worked with? It could be a variant cover artist, could be a writer, it could be somebody not even in comics that you worked with on a project that you'd love to be able to work with again.
Paul Rodriguez is one of my favorite artists of all time. He's a really, really great guy. He's really expensive though, but he's a really good friend of mine. I want to work with him on a book if possible. He's done some commission art for me, but I really want to work with him on a book. That'd be great.
Cool. What about you, Amir? Do you have somebody in mind?
Oh.
Or Amin, do you have somebody in mind?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that, because technically 2 weeks ago I'm there. I mean, I can say their names. I just can't say what I'm working on with them. Yeah, so I always had a great time, working with Joe Gentile at Moonstone Books and Paul Story, a writer, and that came to fruition not too long ago. So I am working on a project with them, but I can't say what it is yet, which is exciting. It's very cool. Outside of that, I mean, I had a great time working with Dave Franchini, who's a writer at Zenoscope, as well as Pat Shand. Editors, I mean, so for me, my editor per excellence has always been Tom Waltz at IDW. Great stuff working with him. So always itching for something to come up again with whatever he has. As for other writers, there's a lot. That's the thing. So, but at the same time, all strange things happen when you have your work out there. So, it's more of just kind of like, at this point, let's leave it on random. Let's see what happens. I think that's one of the cool things about starting when you're doing your own thing, and when people remember you from that, and they kind of remember you from other stuff, that people just come out of nowhere and just like, hey, remember the stuff that we did years ago? It's like, yeah, let's do another one. Why not? Let's do it. Of course, nowadays it's more of like, yeah, I got a timing scheduling issue, but I would love to do it. And then that becomes more like the more professional adult thing of like, where can we get this within 2025 or 2026? So that's a lot of fun too, because you get to a point where you can schedule your stuff out to that point, and then you're kind of excited and building stuff before you get to actually do it, which is always a lot of fun.
What about you, Tyson? You got somebody in mind that you would like to work with again, that you've already done something with in some point in your career?
Oh yeah, that's actually pretty question there. It's pretty relevant because me and Ron have actually had this idea at some point of doing an official crossover of Paragon Prime and Rebound. Like, he actually wants it to be like how old crossover be, where it'd be like canon, like even like it would actually happen for both sides. We haven't fully thought out the idea yet, but it's something we want to do, and it's a pretty neat idea.
So what about you, Mr. Rosario, now that I've allowed it to go back around and come back to you?
I'd love to work with Brandon Easton again. He's somebody to help me write. He's somebody who taught me. Let me put it right. He's somebody who taught me who's when I was very early on trying to, I guess, sharpen my skills, right? He's grown tremendously as a writer and now as a showrunner, right? He's got an awesome cartoon on HBO Max right now called The Yanu, and just to chew the fat with him on different perspectives and fucking he's awesome. Cool fucking dude, man. And besides him, in addition to him, excuse me, Russ Leach. I don't know if anybody knows, the Indy circles. Russ is an old friend of mine. He's real busy right now, but
He did the Death comic, right?
Well, he's doing
the Atlantean right now.
Cole the Conqueror.
Yes, he did a Death. Oh my God.
I have
Death
it.
comes for us. Yes.
Yeah, I have those.
Yeah.
I read the first.
So and before he did that, he did Shield of the Interceptor with me, which is now the action figure line, and he did early superhero Storm Chasers books. So it would be nice to come back around and do stuff with him. You know what I mean? Another thing is I've always wanted to do the MCM, right? The comic convention in London. Just to, just to chill.
Steph, I know your laptop died. Are you back able to hear us and all that?
I am, but I'm going to have to answer this and then go because all my devices are dying. It's dinner time. Yep. My hunger is dying. So it's California time, so it's dinner time, and I'm fading, and so are all my electronic devices. So
let's go to the question. So who's somebody you'd like to
so
work
as far
with?
as what Matt and I have worked with, Renan Shoddy is an amazing artist. And maybe we'll work with him sometime soon. He did a great cover for us, and I would love to see more because he is enthusiastic and positive, which I love. I love working with artists who really dive into whatever the project is, and they're very positive and easy to work with. But if we go way back in the day, even before Matt and I were working together, Val Halverson. They are an incredible artist. We worked together on an anthology piece, and I keep seeing their stuff come up, and I'm like, man, they have only just evolved and grown as an artist, and they are incredible and amazing. And I love their style. It's perfect for horror. I'm a horror fan, so I would love that. But that being said, before everything else dies, I need to jump out of here, eat, charge my devices. So I'm going to let Matt take over the rest of this. Please, if you will consider Tatsumi, thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, we will talk to you guys later.
Anytime.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
So for me, I think I would probably say Walter Osley. He's the artist for Metal Shark Bro. We did a series of Garbage Pail Kid homage covers for some of our different characters. We had Beninock the Executioner, who became Blasted Beninock. We had his arch nemesis Verminoth became Vile Verminoth, and then Michael Isildur from Heirs of Isildur became Malfunctioning Michael. And they all had the Atom Bomb, Blasted Billy treatment done to him. And he's just a good dude and a fun, unique art style that you don't normally see very often. There's probably a lot of others I could say, but to answer my own question concisely, I think Walter is probably one of the people I'd have up there. Be fun to collab on something with him again if something was to come up.
All right, cool. All right, I'm going to try to ask a quick one. So hopefully this one we're going to buzz right through because we don't have that much time left, but we're going to buzz right through this one. What do you find influencing your work? I should say what or who do you find who influences your work currently, right? Because we all have our childhood influences, whether it be Frank Miller, Jack Kirby, whoever. But who do you find today? What creator today or thing is influencing your work today? So I think, well, let's go with Tyson. Tyson. I don't know. Who? Amin. I think you were next.
Yeah. John Romita Jr., Klaus Janson, and Terry Dodson, Sean Murphy.
Sean Murphy. Gordon.
Yeah, I think those four have really really kept things in terms of just influence, output, and quality. And I think, and even just imagination. I would throw Jeff Darrow in there, but Jeff Darrow is like super detailed, really out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say those primary four are the big ones for me.
Okay, cool. Tyson, who you think?
So, let me say the question right. Like, say, like creators working today that's influencing my work. Like,
Yes.
gee, it's kind of tough because I base a lot of my inspiration came from like like was known as the Copper Age from 1984 to 1992. Like that's the style I'm going for. So it's like, what are some creators today that are really influencing? Because I don't even, it's hard to even say, but I would say like well, of course, a huge one, a creator that influenced me was Chris Claremont in general. And like he was a huge inspiration, like of playing story arcs and characterization and continuity, like from the X-Men, of course, but yeah, it's like in terms of artists and stuff today, it's like, wow, it's hard to say because it's kind of one making kind of a reaction against this stuff. So it's I don't know, but
all right.
Hope that works.
Listen, it's fair. It's fair. It's like whoever, it's your answer. It's all good. Ron, what are your thoughts?
I want to say right now, Dan Mora as an artist. He's amazing.
Oh yeah, he is pretty good.
He's really good, and I have like a lot of his Superman, Batman, World's Finest stuff. It's just incredible, and
yeah. My favorite stuff from him was Once in Future with Karen Gillan, and the stuff he did with Grant Morrison, the Claws stuff. Yeah, that stuff was awesome. Okay. Matt.
For me, I'm more interested in or more influenced by just different kinds of storytelling, whether it be movies, whether it be just looking at the way that a story is told, the way that they wrap things up as far as I really like looking at, I know this is going to sound like an odd inspiration, but you look at like Netflix shows and you can really tell if the writer knew where he was going, knew where they were going when they put something together. Because if you get to that last episode and you're like, they've wrapped everything, you can see boom, 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 boom. Like if you go back and look at the show Paradise that just came out and you watch that the wrap, without even saying anything about the first episode has probably got the gnarliest twist ever that I've seen in a show. Like what you think you're watching and what you end up finding out you're actually watching, there's no way to know, and you get to the end, you're like, holy crap, that was so well done. But in that, when you get to the end and they wrap up everything that builds, you can tell they were like, this is where we want to get to. What do we have to do in these episodes to get there? That's the kind of stuff that influences me is watching good storytelling. How do they do that? How do they plant things in the success or the preceding episodes to get to that? Those are the things that influence me, is making sure that we put a story together, that we follow those kind of guidelines to make sure that the story, that all the arcs are tied up nicely when you get to the end.
You know what show was like that for me? Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad for sure. Breaking Bad for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
Good show.
What? Yeah. You just made me hit puberty in the middle of this show. You never watched Breaking Bad?
Because everyone has jocked it for so long that watching it will never live up to the expectation of what everyone has told me it was.
No, I think it would. I think it would.
But the other thing is, I can't spend 7 seasons on something. I just can't.
To binge watch it, you just take your time.
It's 5 seasons on 7.
I'll pass. I'll pass. I'll pass on it. I'll pass. Because you know what? That doesn't. Right, the drug shows really don't do it for me either. Like I hate.
No, they don't do it for me either. But like I started watching it. And the series finale is, I think, the perfect series finale in my opinion. I think
it's actually
beyond. Yeah,
it's what Sopranos wished it was.
Yeah.
Sopranos didn't do it for me.
kind of rare for a series to end so
Give the
fumble.
first couple episodes a try. I think you'll identify with the character faster than you realize. I think that's the hook. He could have done anything else, but I think that particular hook on the causality for what he ended up doing, I think it's highly identifiable. And especially nowadays with sort of like this social economical turmoil and uncertainty.
I get it. I also saw Falling Down with Michael Douglas. That's the Cliff
That's
Notes
different.
version.
Yeah, that's more on the like revenge part.
No. It's me driving to work and saying, "Fuck all these, what the fuck are you getting off selling me a burger that looks nothing like the fucking picture?" That's 100% me. 100% me. But to answer Matt's question, not gonna happen. To answer Matt's question, excuse me, not Matt's question. Calderon's question. Daniel Warren Johnson, right? He's forget about the Transformers stuff for a second, which I do like. Do a power bomb.
Yeah.
What? If you're a writer and you get to the last page and you don't shed a tear, then you don't know what happened in that book, man. The father-daughter dynamic, the whole, wrapped in wrestling, it just, wow. Beautiful stuff. But if we're talking shows, right? Okay. The Residents. I don't know if anybody's seen that on Netflix, but wow. And Matt, you like Clue? Watch The Residents, man. If you're a fan.
Is that the one that's set in the White House?
Yes.
Let me tell you what, that one is crazy. That's the kind of thing I will say about that show. If you're going to watch it, you better be paying attention. You better not be scrolling. You better not be
100%.
If you miss 5 minutes of that show, you're going to feel like did I just miss a whole season? Because there is so much stuff that is packed into every episode that you're going to get lost if you miss for any amount of time.
Sounds pretty dense.
And you know what? It ends. That's what I like. It ends after 8 episodes. It's condensed, just like what was it, 0 Day? Oh, okay. We got an ending to the story, right?
I will tell you one of the things about Residents that is actually super freaking cool is that Andre Braugher was supposed to be in that series.
He shot scenes.
Yeah, he shot most of the scenes for this entire series before he died.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, what are we going to do about this? They had to get Giancarlo Esposito to fill the role that Andre Braugher had. And he was the only person they felt was going to be worthy of filling that role. So it's actually really cool to be like, holy crap, this is like two legends of acting that, Giancarlo had to humble himself to be like, I've got to go and do Andre Braugher right in this role. So that's one of the things I really respect about that show. I know it's a complete off topic, but it's such a cool side note about that show.
So you did see it?
I did. I just forgot the name. When you said a Residence, I completely, after you said it, I'm like, oh crap, I did see that thing. My bad.
But when it comes to writing, you can give courses on breaking down that series. It's just, wow.
All right, cool. For myself, it's funny because the writer and the name Jeff Johns, right, who's been a perennial at DC for many years.
You know what? I should have said Jeff Johns. He's great too. Yeah.
So, what's funny about him is that I've never read any of his work really until recently, right? Okay. So I just recently read. I guess DC released 4 volumes of the Green Lantern stuff that he had done. And I recently read that. He recently there was a Final Crisis thing. The main reason I bought it is because George Perez illustrated it. So I was like, okay, I gotta read that.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I'm really enjoying from his is the stuff from Ghost Machine, Geiger, Red Coat. Yeah. You understand? Those books are really good.
I've wanted to get into those. I haven't yet, though.
Yeah. I really enjoy Red Coat. Similar to what Jay was saying about the other title. It's about a guy from the Civil War, not the Civil War, the
American Revolution,
the War of Independence, and he's immortal, and he goes through history. You see all this crazy stuff he goes through, so it's a lot of fun. And Geiger is also a lot of fun. So yeah, so the stuff he's on Ghost Machine, stuff I'm really enjoying. So, all right. So gentlemen, thank you so much. We made it to hour 2, and let's start with Ron. Ron, where can we find you and your work, sir?
You can find me at let's see. I can never remember my Twitter handle. Like at Ron_Christian55. That's where I do most. That's where I spend a lot of time. I do a lot of my promotion. I post a lot. That's where you can find me, all the time. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Amin, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, AAMAT, on Facebook under Amin Amat and Amin Amat Art. And also the Road to Oz, you can find it on both Instagram, Facebook, and you can also do the search on Kickstarter as well.
All right, cool. Tyson?
Oh, yeah, you can find me on Twitter. My handle is Rising Star Com. No, not comics, just coms. I can get the whole thing in. And you can also find me on Instagram. Hold on, let me forget what my handle is, but it's. Oh wait, actually, yeah, I'm on Instagram where I post the art and updates and stuff. And let's see, my handle is. Sorry, huh? Yeah, just Rising Star Comics.
All right, cool. Matt, where can they find you and your work, sir?
All right, so right now, the best thing to do, there's 2 different places you want to go, and that is tinyurl.com/Tatsumi, TATSUMITSM, Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress. That'll take you to the Kickstarter campaign that in a few minutes is only going to show us having 3 days left. If you want to know more about the stuff that Steph and I do, be able to see some of the music videos that are up there, see all the articles that Steph has written for places like Creepy Kingdom, Horror Geek Life, Fangoria, be able to read more about our other titles. You go to linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations. That's INSYMMETRY Creations. You can see all about the different things we do, panel hosting, it's at conventions, all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, tinyurl.com/Tatsumi TSM. That's where we want each and every one of you guys. Thank you.
Nice. Jay, where can they find you and your work, sir?
UnstoppableComics.com. You can head on over to the website, find all of my social media links there. And then Friday nights, hanging out sometimes with this guy over here, Comic Book Streamland on YouTube. And then on the 20th of this month, if anyone is in Augusta, Georgia, come check me out at booth U8 and see these bad boy action figures from Shield of the Interceptor up close and in person.
All right, so I should probably take you off the 22nd show, right?
Yeah. That's it.
That might be a good idea. It's good thing you told me that in advance.
Yeah, I did many times. It's not like I haven't promoted this appearance for the last, 4 months.
Listen, I thought it was sometime in January of next year. I don't know. All right, so I'm JD Calderon, the writer and creator of the Oswald Chronicles. You can find me on Oswald, theoswaldchronicles.com, talltalesonline.com, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, DeviantArt, all those different places. And on Sunday nights here, sometimes with this guy, Mr. Rosario, sometimes, and then every other Tuesday night with Rob Motari, where we do a show it's a workshop show where we help people out with some of their problems. And we haven't invited Jay on yet because he has like serious problems. And we only have an hour and a half. So, we just can't do it. So, not to mention he's always asleep anyway.
Yep.
All right. So please, everybody, remember, go check out the show notes. In those show notes are the links to all of these creators and their campaigns. So please click on those links, check out those campaigns, buy those books. All of these creators are doing fantastic work. All of them deserve your support. All of them deserve your love. So go check them out. Thank you so much, everyone. And we will see you next week. And have a good night. And just remember, everyone, read more indie comics, especially ours.
Yes.
See you.
All right.
Where's the end card?